Hey guys, it's Tony with Backwoods Biker Magazine and Wood Tramp Outdoors. Been asked a lot here lately. I guess it's because it's spring. What's the best way to start a fire when everything's wet? Great question. Hang tight. All right, guys, welcome back. Well, first of all, you need to be able to identify what you're going to be facing. Right now here in central Illinois, we have had a ton of rain. Yesterday was the first day that we had really that was over 60 degrees. Today it's going to push up into the 70s. But even so, we have got wet ground everywhere. Now I want to show you that so you can be able to understand that you're not the only person facing this. All right, guys, you can see how the ground is really wet, right? And a lot of times, one of the biggest mistakes that we see beginner students do is that we send them out to go gather wood, and what they'll do is they'll grab stuff like this right here. See that? They'll grab something like this, and wood is like a sponge. It's very porous, but it's very cellular in nature, almost like a sponge that will soak up all the moisture. And you're not going to start a fire with that. I don't care how good you are or what skills that you have. This vine, you want to stay away from those vines like that are still alive, because they're full of water on the inside. Anything that's like this, you want to stay away from this. Now, what you're going to want to look for is, something that is dead and off of the ground. Here is a perfect example right here. If you can see that there, I'm just going to go ahead and shoot this from one end of it to the other, but you can see that is off the ground right there because it's up on another limb. And that goes all the way over to there. You see how that's up off of the ground? So with that, I could tell you with full confidence that I'm going to be able to use that to start a fire. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this area out. And then I'm going to take this piece of tree it was a big limb that has just rotted out through. The bottom of it was laying on the ground. I'm going to show you that there. The bottom of that was laying on the ground. So it's all wet here, right? But when I turn it over, look here, it's nice and dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this in half, and I'm going to lay the wet side on the ground and the dry side up. And lay them together. And now that is the perfect lay for a fire in a wet condition, like you see everything's wet around here. The next thing that I do is I start my base by building a triangle. There's a lot of names for this. I can't take the credit for being the guy that has come up with this idea, but it is a perfect way to be able to start a fire, because what's going to happen, it's going to give you the ability to lift it up once you have your tinder in and you have all your kindling in there to get your fire started. So I'm going to go grab some kindling and show you the next thing that we need to do. Okay, as I was afraid, there is so much moisture that I couldn't find anything that was really dry, so that's no reason to panic. We know what to do here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this in half right here. A little knot in it broke. That's good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get beyond this wet bark, right? We're going to get beyond the wet bark. There's a knot right there that's not going to be helpful, but that's okay. All right, so now what I am going to do here is I'm going to start shaving. This is pretty dry here. I might go down just a little bit more. Just a little. I'm going to go down here just a little bit more to where I know there's dry wood. See that? Now it's peeling. Once you get down to the middle of it, the outside is okay if it's wet. That's not a problem. Okay. We don't need a whole awful lot. Alright, these are some curls that we're going to use. It's getting drier. The farther you get down into this, the drier it is. Alright, so now we got these curls, and we're going to create some shavings. Alright, now, just want to get a few shavings on here, just like that. Okay. Now we've got enough of this to be able to catch an ignition. Alright, so we've got the fire lay ready to go. I got some very, very dry tinder that was hanging up off of the ground in the air, so the wind has been blowing on it. I've got some very small sticks that'll go on top of that once that ignites, and then once that happens I can start adding other things to it. But because of the fact that I don't want a big fire out here today, I'm not going to be adding a whole lot of stuff. I just want to be able to show you the right procedure here. But I also want to make mention, you know, in this haversack that I carry with me, I always have a ferro rod and I have an emergency fire kit, and this particular fire kit has got a lot of stuff in that. If I'm not successful with what I just did, then I can get inside this kit, and I have all kinds of stuff here. There's a Bic lighter there, you see that? There is another ferrocerium rod by Exotac. I've got some char cloth in here if necessary. I've got fat wood in here if necessary, different kinds of fat wood. I've got some pieces of the SFK1 survival fire cake from Wood Tramp Outdoors. So there's a lot of redundancy here. There's cotton batting here, and there's magnesium capsules that I could use. So I try to make sure that I am never ever going to be wanting on fire. All right, so now that we've got this, I got my ferro rod. What we want to do is we want to anchor this dude. Don't move. This is the only thing that moves. It's like you're doing a lawnmower, like that. There it goes. Okay, and once I see that it's burning good, then I can start adding some of this small stuff, right? Some of the really, really finer small stuff, like these vine twigs that are all dried out. Just add what you need to get it going. That's it. And I like to make sure that this stuff is wider than what my triangle is, because I'll show you here why the triangle is important. Okay. So we've got fire, we've got an ignition, right? Putting my knife away, and I am putting the ferro rod away. I never lay it on the forest floor. It'd be disastrous. Okay, it's going pretty good. Now the reason that you have this triangle is in the process of making a fire, if you need to add oxygen to it. That's what this is all about. You raise this up, you see how it starts to burn even more? Right. And I could keep adding stuff, but I really don't want to continue to do it. But I just wanted to show you a particular way of building a fire when everything is wet. All this was wet when we started out. One of the other things that I wanted to show you that I carry with me when the conditions are wet is a Beeswax Candle. This happens to be a combination of beeswax and carnauba wax. It was an experiment for us. Wasn't real happy with it, but it will burn. And what you can do is you can put this down on top of your floor pan, and you can light the candles, and as long as you have something over it, some type of canopy that you can build, whether it's your poncho or whatever it is, you can light this beeswax candle and it will help to dry out all the wood. Easy to make a fire there. So that's it. Fire when your wood is wet, when the conditions are wet, very unfavorable for fire. There it is. See that there? I don't know who came up with this idea first, and I can't even tell you who taught me how to do this. But it's great. So, hope that helped you out. Until next time, you guys ride free, you live free, and as always, you be safe out there, especially when you're playing with fire in the woods.